I love that.
I do too. I do too. I love that.
You make one of them with really short hair, though. You know, just saying. Well, two of them actually. Yeah, I started to say you got your hair cut now too.
Mine was cut before yours.
I'd like to say good evening to everybody, but they ain't nobody here.
Not yet. They'll be here. They'll be here.
I do. But it's been a wonderful, wonderful week.
Yes, it has been.
It has. It has. We've had good weather.
It's been hot here.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm so sorry.
Above normal temperatures.
Oh.
All week.
We did have above normal temperatures Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But now we're right on track with normal. Hello, Cindy.
Hello, Cindy. How you doing this evening, sweetheart?
Hey, Cindy. Hey, Candy.
And Candy.
There's our Candy.
It's good to see you. We are all feeling good today, and hope you are too. Hope you've had a blessed week. Everybody but Sherry, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good. Only one part of me not feeling good.
Yes, we love our Raiders.
Yes.
Yeah, but that one part is an angry part.
Yes.
Hi, Laura.
Hello,
Laura.
It's good to see you.
Yes, it is.
Hi, VJ. It's good to see you.
Hello, VJ.
I was lurking in some live earlier. I like to lurk.
Yes.
I was running around trying to get things done before we jumped on here.
Right. Hello, DK Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hey, DK Jen. How are you, hon?
Hi, DK.
I love the photo you posted of the hat. I did not expect it to be blue.
Oh.
It's fantastic. And I do hope that the one you made it for loves it as much as I do.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hey,
hello, Laura D. How you doing?
Hey, Laura.
How's that weather over on the East Coast? Yes, there were some great items. I love it, VJ.
Yes,
it shows you how much love everyone puts into their work.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
And I love
That's
that.
right.
And it shows when you really do. It really does show when you put love into what you're making.
That's right.
I love
it
that.
really
I
shows.
love that. I like to see what everyone makes. And it shows you how they take their time and they put all their love into their crafts. Hello, Andrea.
Hi, Andrea.
Hello, Andrea. How are you doing?
Hello, Miss Joe.
There is a wonderful bunch of talented people we have.
Gives me inspiration.
Oh, I'm glad there's no
ideas coming and going. It's just
it
like
does. It does. Some great inspiration.
Some of them sometimes, gets out of hand. I have to come on, break it down.
I love seeing what they create. It really does. It gives me inspiration and lets me know that, hey, I can do it too. Even though I've been crocheting all these years. But it lets me know, hey, you could do it too. Just keep working.
Laura D says, it's okay, no rain.
I'm glad there's no rain. She lives on the east coast, on the coast, on the water, as compared to me. I'm in the mountains of the state. Hi, Martha.
Hello, Martha. How are you doing? And there's our Lana.
It's good to see you. Yes, I am amazed. And I love the color choices. I always love the color choices.
Yeah.
I love color pooling. That blows my mind. I hadn't figured out how to do it yet.
Yeah, no, either.
Sorry
for the quick.
You're fine. It's always cool to see when someone makes something and the colors they choose.
Right.
And when it's variegated and watching the colors pool.
Yeah.
It's really, neat. I'm going to give you, for instance, I made this a couple years ago. It's a bear, but would you imagine me to make it a bear in green? I mean, well, me, yes, but
Yes.
you don't imagine bears being green.
No.
But I
Usually.
chose a green. This is the Ballard Bear, the patterns by YOH Crochet.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's the Ballard Bear, I chose green because Madonna Ballard's favorite color is green.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's an alien bear, so I went with green. Obviously, you see Madonna's beer, I'm just saying.
Can't forget the beer.
But you have to love people's choice of color because it's
That's
always
right.
different. Everyone chooses a different color.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that.
Yep.
Hello, Martha.
How are you doing this afternoon?
Kind of why I did the purple on the gnome beard.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because that's her favorite color.
I love that.
I like when the beards are different colored like that because you don't necessarily think of a gnome being a humdrum.
No.
You
You
think of
do.
it being bright and fun loving, and
You do.
I love the different colors. I
You do. And yeah, we always expect that. And there's our Greenie D. We love our Greenie D.
Hello, Granny D.
This is for Greenie D. And hello, me, Dawn, and Marsha Lee, Blind Stitches, and Michael. It's
Hi,
so good
Michael.
to see you all. We really appreciate that.
Hello.
Brittany D, thank you so much. We always appreciate when you rate us.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Definitely.
Hello, Michael and Michelle and Mima Dawn. How are you all doing?
There's Rita.
Hello, Rita.
Hi, Rita.
And Faith Louise.
Yes, Faith Louise.
Hello,
Yes.
my little sister Rita. I just saw your video earlier of the first day at the Stockholm Yarn Festival. Boy, your mama was all wrapped up and ready to go, wasn't she?
Hi,
Hey,
Quilted
Linda.
Stuff.
It's good to see you, Linda.
Long
Yeah.
time no see.
How you doing,
Yes,
Linda?
it is. Glad
Yes.
to see you.
Aw.
Oh, you're so welcome, Greenie D. We love having you here. Now,
Oh, yes, ma'am.
I want to go ahead and jump into our topic for today.
Okay,
Our
good.
topic is we want you guys to crochet like a pro, and we want to tell you how hook size changes your yarn game.
Yes.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
Michael woke up and went to bed at like 10 a.m. today. Oh my goodness.
Well, he's been busting out some Boggy Creek blanket patterns.
Yes, he is.
Whipping them out. Whipping them out.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So we want to tell you how crochet your crochet hooks can affect your yarn fabric,
Mm-hmm.
and it can affect it dramatically.
Big.
Oh, yes.
We thought we'd tell you guys that. Didn't know if you guys were aware of that, but we thought we would. So without further ado, whoever wants to start first, go ahead. Oh boy, y'all are quiet. Okay, so I'm going to start first. I'll start
There you
first.
go. You start us
So,
off.
You can change the way your yarn looks, the way your fabric comes out, if you use a larger hook than the yarn calls for.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you're using a fingerling weight yarn and you use an eye hook, you're going to create something that's a little drapey,
Yes.
Right.
very
Absolutely.
loosely,
Yes.
and all. The same will go if you move up yarn sizes and you go with a DK weight yarn and you move up in hook size and work with an M hook, and you're going
Right.
to create another loosely done fabric.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes a huge difference. It's one way of doing a very drapey shawl, if you'd like.
And you might find it's harder to handle when you go up in the bigger hook sizes and you have the tiny yarn. Sometimes it's a little bit challenging to make it do just right. You know what I mean? It can be aggravating sometimes, but it makes a big difference.
It sure does.
And Faith Louise said the magic word.
Yes.
That is one of the reasons you want to gauge swatch.
That's right.
If you're wanting, you dropped your pearls and it broke.
Oh no!
I hope you took photos and sent them to Pearls.
Yes.
Yeah, take some photos and send them to Pearls, sweetheart. I'm so sorry that happened.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, how awful.
Makes you want to cry. Oh.
Yes. So
I need my hook, and I still want to cry.
if you're wanting a particular drape on your fabric, it is really good to work up about 4 to 6 inches, you know, both width and height, in order to see how the fabric's going to behave.
Right.
If you don't work up that much, you're not going to know how the fabric is going to drape, how the yarn's going to work up, period. You're not going to know how it's going to work, how you're going to work with it, you know.
Right.
But working it up would be great. Yes, I do gauge swatch, Marshall Lee. Yes.
You know, if you don't make your gauge swatch at least 4 inches, at least. Or
I do.
You're not going to have a true measurement of your gauge, because when you start working on a project, you might have different tension than you do on up in the project.
Right.
Once you get more used to holding the yarn and the hook and doing the stitches that you need to do, you're going to get a little looser, you know, as you go along, because you're getting more familiar, a little faster, and, and if you don't make it big enough, then you're not going to be able to tell that.
Right.
So Marcia, the best thing do you hear that?
Yeah, it echoed for a minute.
Hold on.
The best
I think that was me.
thing I would suggest, Marcia, is get a ruler that's exactly 4 inches long. And that way you'll know when you crocheted 4 inches.
Yeah.
And work with that. I have a ruler that is exactly 4 inches. And I use that to measure by.
Yep.
And I will crochet to the length of the ruler. And then I'll turn it the other way. And I'll go the other direction.
Good old wooden ruler.
Thank you, Sheila.
These, you can get these at Walmart, Dollar Tree. These little short rulers are exactly 6 inches. And really, it is the best. I do all of my swatches 6x6. I don't do that 4x4 stuff. I just don't.
It's better. The bigger you can swatch, the better gauge you're going to have of how your crocheting works out for your project.
Hi, Chandra. Hi, Daigo.
Hello, Chandra and Daigo. How are y'all doing?
Oh, hi, Daigo. So I do swatch. I want to know how my fabric's going to turn out. I do not always swatch for an amigurumi, but I do swatch for most things.
Especially wearables.
Right.
Now, I have been known to swatch and then rip it out and use that yarn. Even when it's been washed.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
And you can too, you know, and depending on the stitch you use and how big your swatch is, sometimes it's important that you do take it back out and reuse it, because if you've if you kind of slipped on the measuring of how much yarn you need, you know, you're going to come up with that yarn chicken right there at the end. And sometimes you have to have every last little inch of it.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Amy. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Amy. Hi, Michelle.
Michelle Mosaic says, how funny that I would come in while you're talking about swatches.
Yeah.
I'm the bad one. I don't. And I know
never
I
have.
should. I should, but I don't. But I don't make sweaters and that kind of stuff.
Wearables, yeah.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Marcia, you need a short ruler to help you to do the swatches. Yeah. And what you're going to do is go by the way the fabric feels.
Right.
Yes.
Not by the way it looks, but by the way it feels.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I do more by the way the fabric feels, or I get out a magnifier to see what it looks like. But it's more important to me to see how it feels. Right. Because if it's too stiff, I need to change my hook size.
Yes.
Right.
It depends on what you want it to be, how you want it to feel. Not necessarily what maybe the pattern says it's supposed to be. How you want it to come out is what you should be going for with your gauge.
Yes.
Right.
It's very important.
There was only one time I did a gauge, and I could not get gauge.
Yeah.
At all. I kept having to go up hook size, more hook size. I went up 5 hook sizes.
Yep.
Wow.
To get her gauge.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've done that before.
She crocheted really loose.
Yes, Daigo.
Oh.
And at the time, I crocheted to the point where my yarn was squeaking.
Oh, wow. My goodness.
So I learned to loosen up, and now I can use it if I kind of measure just for my own. Like,
right.
Hi, Donna.
Hey,
hello, Donna. How are you? You're not late, sweetie.
No, never late. Never late.
No. And Daigo, you can make an announcement. That's fine. Go ahead.
Well, I have found for myself that if I don't like the way the gauge is working up, sometimes, like let's say I did it with a wood hook, I might try the same thing in the same size now with a resin or a metal. Because I find sometimes that just changing not only just the hook size, but maybe the material that the hook is made with.
Right.
Because, you know, sometimes your yarn will work better with another type of, what do I want to say? Material that your hook's made from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I'm going to answer Marcia's question. Okay. Marcia, I would like to do that, but I won't have time until next year. But I would definitely like to do that with you. Okay.
I have found too that, like Maureen was saying, the difference in what your hook is made of.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have found also the difference in the brand of your hook. You can change from a Susan Bates to a boy, to a girl, to a Peaches and Page. Any of the different, Lord knows there's plenty of them now, manufacturers of the hooks, they're all different. They all have a different process that they use making their hooks.
That's
and
right.
They all have a different way of conditioning the metal or the wood or the resin or whatever it's made out of.
Right.
And it will make a difference in what you're using in your hand. It will make a big difference in the name brand, in the even if it's all the same size hook, you may find every one of them is just a little different.
Right.
Just a little different. And
sometimes it's just the weight.
Yes. And if you use a certain type of yarn, you go pick out your yarn for your project, all excited, and it's just gorgeous, squishy, soft, luscious stuff. And you pick up a hook and you're fighting it and you're fighting it,
Right.
and fighting it, and it don't want to do right, and it won't come out right, and it don't look good. Change your hook.
That's right.
Get a totally different hook. You can use the same size, just get
Right.
a totally different hook.
Well,
Try it that way. And if that one you're still fighting, get another one. There's a big, big difference in hooks.
the same
That's
thing
right, there
happens if your yarn is splitting with the
Yes.
hook that you're using. Switch to a different hook.
Yes.
It could make a world of a difference. And there is a big difference between brands.
Yes.
Um,
It's just the manufacturing process.
yeah.
I mean,
And we're not saying any one brand's better than the other.
no,
No.
it's just the difference in how they make them.
It's
Just
just
an example.
hmm
It is.
I mean, you can use a $200 hook or a $2 hook, and it doesn't matter. It's just whichever one works with the yarn and with you.
yes.
You are the prime example. I mean, you've got to do it yourself. Try it yourself.
This is the fourth hook that I started this shawl with,
Yeah.
Mm.
because the others were, and this is a very tightly spun.
Yeah, let me
Ooh,
make
yes.
it. Let me make it big.
Mm.
Yep.
It's a
Yes.
finger and weight yarn, very tight spun.
Yeah.
Is that mandala string?
No, it's some I got
Oh.
in Florida,
Oh, okay.
but I was using, what are they called? Tulips.
Mm-hmm.
It was splitting the yarn
Wow.
Mm.
and catching and everything, and I've used these a lot. They should be pretty well worn in.
Mm-hmm.
This gives me a really good drape compared to what the other one was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just a hook fighting the yarn. That's
Right.
Yep.
all it is to it.
Well, I've had that happen where I was using one hook and then I had to switch to another hook. It happens all the time.
It's like a miracle. Like, oh.
It happens all the time. I have to switch from my furls sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to deny
too.
that.
I do too.
You know, I do
sometimes
my favorite. Yeah.
sometimes I have to go all the way back to my very, very first set of crochet hooks that I ever got. And that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's old boy hooks, and they're used. I'm telling you, they have been used. But sometimes I have to go all the way back to that.
Sometimes I have to.
It works. You know?
You know, it's okay. It's what
Mhm.
works with the yarn.
Yep.
You know. But what we're telling you is that you can use a different size hook with the yarn.
Yeah.
And
You're
make
going
it
to
work.
get a different effect, and the yarn's going to look differently.
Yes.
You're going to get a much different type of fabric. You'll get a
Yes.
different fabric depending upon what the material of the hook is that
Right.
you're using.
Mm-hmm.
Sure
It
will.
makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want something super drapey, you're going to get, change the hook.
Right.
It'll make a big difference.
You know, one of the things I've heard people say is if they use the fuzzy yarn,
Mm-hmm.
the fluffy stuff, just for instance, Caron Colorama Halo,
Yeah.
it's got the halo to it. I've heard a lot of people say that if they use a wooden hook that it hangs up on it,
Yeah.
that the fibers do, not
Yeah.
for me.
Right.
Not for me.
I
That's
have
what
that.
I had to go to because the wood just slides right through. Just slides.
I don't have a
Mhm.
problem.
And I was like, well, that's just crazy. Everybody else says this don't work,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
but I'm weird anyway.
But certain hooks work differently for certain people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Some people have no problem with the resin hooks.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with some of the resin hooks. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't crochet tight.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
just, I have a problem with some of them.
Yeah.
I do great with metal.
Right. I do great with metal and wood, but sometimes my resins just, me and them aren't happy.
Yes.
They just don't agree. So, question for the chat. Do you sometimes up your hook size to get a drapier effect from your yarn?
Yes.
So that's a question for them to think about. Hello, Nammy
G.
Hello, Nammy G. How are you, sweetie?
Hope you're feeling better.
Yes, I do too.
VJ says yes. Zola says yes.
Nice.
Yes. And you know, it depends too on your project.
Right.
Whether or not your project has a lot of chains in it that's supposed to make it, you know, supposed to make it drapey by the chains, not just by the stitches themselves, but by the chains.
Yeah.
Do you keep the chains real tight, or do you do them real loose too? Or, you know, you can change hook sizes and make a big difference in that too.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Figaro says, no, he didn't change.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, I like that, Marcia.
Yes.
Yes.
I do. I use my K-hook a lot of times when I'm making
I haven't in a long time, but I've been looking at a pattern that I want to go up a few.
Yes. You know, and you can do that too. You can completely change a pattern just by going up in the hook size like that.
Yes.
Right.
And
not change it where it's bad. Change it where it's something totally different that's just amazing. You know, to the person that's making it. You can make it be different.
Right.
Yeah.
I go up needle sizes as well when I'm knitting.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. And now, depending upon what the fiber is, I may switch from metal to wood or plastic or resin because I want more effect on the yarn. Makes a big difference. I want it to hold the yarn back some.
Yeah.
I don't want it to slip so much.
Yes.
Right.
Makes a huge
makes a big difference. Big difference. You don't want your amigurumi being drapey.
No. No, I will use metal for amigurumi every time.
Yes.
Oh yes. I learned that hard way.
Super tight. And hi Mater. Hello.
Hello, Mater and Crystal. Glad y'all are both here with us tonight.
Yes.
You never tried upping the hook size. Oh. That's interesting.
Not you.
Well, you know, Nammy G, it's not that you're experimenting so much as it is most all patterns will tell you to make a gauge swatch and you start with the hook that the creator of the project recommends.
Right.
It may not be the same hook size that the band on the yarn recommends.
Right.
It may just be for that particular pattern. But if you still can't get gauge using the same hook that the author of the project used, then you're going to have to change your hook size to be able to get it. Otherwise, you're going to have an amigurumi this big when it should have been this big. You know, it or vice versa. It makes a big, big difference. It's not that you're inexperienced.
Nammy G said, huh? What did you say, Connie? Gauge what?
You know what I said. You know what I said.
Well, I have swatched a couple times for amigurumi. For that simple reason, I was telling Connie earlier, I want a 2-inch amigurumi. And then all of a sudden, I end up with a big amigurumi. when I was this big. So I have swatched a few times. Now, I do know when I use certain yarn and a certain size hook, I have an idea of what the fabric's going to be like. So I don't have to swatch because I know what it's going to be.
Yep.
But
because you've used it before, you've experienced
I've done it so many times now that I don't have to.
That is where being experienced comes in. If you know yourself enough to know what you do with a particular yarn size or a hook size, if you know for sure what you're going to be making, what it's going to come out looking like, then that is experience. You can only do that by practice.
That's right.
Hi, Divergent. So I've done it so many
DC.
times.
How you doing?
I know what it's going to do, whether I use an F hook or an E hook. I know what it's going to do.
Right.
So
you've told me before how to change hook size to make it bigger.
Yes.
To raise up something that I was working on. You sure did.
Right.
Wonderful, Faith Louise. Yes.
Yes,
That's
you
awesome.
need to write it down.
Right.
It makes a difference. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
You have to.
And
you have to keep track of it.
But
you'll always know.
If you're writing down what your gauge was, you need to write down the whole thing. What yarn you used, what hook you used, and what gauge you got. Because it'll make a difference if any one of those things change.
Right.
Yes, Divergent Crafter is correct.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. And you will always have it recorded so that you'll know when you pick it up the next time, you don't have to swatch it because you already know.
Yep.
That's where the practice comes in.
That's where it comes in. It makes a difference.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm actually surprised how many people don't swatch.
Yeah.
I thought that was something that everybody did.
I think it's a little taboo for some people.
Right.
I like it. The nice thing about swatches is you can save them all up, sew them together, and
yes, make your blanket out of them. Yeah, you sure can.
You know,
I got where's a basket. I can send them to you.
There you go. Well, Dan's into sewing stuff together. Send them to Dan.
Yes, send them to him.
You know, I personally have been in the habit of ripping them out and using the yarn.
See,
I have
acrylic. I'll do that sometimes, but I have, like I said, it's been a long time since I did a sweater or But I am so scared to sit there and keep ripping out my good yarn.
Oh yeah.
Well, I also like the fact that when swatching, I'm able to wash it and to see what happens to the yarn.
Yes, that's another thing. Yeah.
That's how I learned I can't put certain things in the dryer. Like latte cake, it ruins the yarn.
Yeah.
Or you can't put wool in hot water in the washing machine.
No.
Come out with Barbie doll.
You're trying to swatch, but you've been told once you use the yarn, it loses its shape. I'm not sure if that really happens. No, it doesn't lose its shape. It can develop a memory.
Right.
It can. It depends on the yarn, and it can develop a memory. Depends on how long it stays in the swatch. So, yeah.
But at the same time, if you have yarn that has developed a memory from making it into a swatch, all you need to do is steam it, and it will turn loose.
Yeah. Or you can pull it out, put it on your Swift.
Yep.
And then a lot of times, though, I found that just wetting it like that, putting it on the Swift will stretch it out a little.
Well, I don't wrap it hard. I don't stretch it when I wrap it.
Well, I mean, I know that, but it's when it's wet, you know, when you put it on the Swift, it's hard to judge how how tight to put it up there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes.
I mean, I guess you have to be experienced to know how tight you're doing.
Yeah, I'm not used to using a Swift. I'm used to just rolling it up my ball and
I'm used to using the Swift.
chasing it all over the living room.
Divergent, don't cheat and do a 2x2.
Oh
no.
It doesn't give you enough information.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't give you enough information. And I normally don't put it on my Swift wet. I'm just saying.
Oh, the yarn.
Yeah.
Well, even damp, sometimes you can stretch it out if you.
Yeah, I don't. I wait till it's dry because my Swift is a wood one.
Yeah, that too. They're rotted.
Yeah, I don't do a 2x2 Divergent.
No.
I don't get enough information out of a 2x2.
I would rather have a 6x6 myself.
Right.
I know.
I do. Well, I do a 6x6 and I measure the 4 inches in between.
Yes, because I know my crocheting is different from when I start a project until I'm like halfway up in it or almost to the end, whatever. It's my tension is different. Way different.
Yeah, I crochet or knit a 6x6 inch and I measure the 4 inches in the middle. Or 10 centimeters, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
That's what I do. That's the short ruler I have, which is like Maureen's.
But if you keep, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
If you're having problems with your yarn and you're fighting it, and it's just not looking like you want it to, and it's not coming out right, and it's splitting the yarn or whatever it's doing, the longer you sit there fighting with that, the worse it's gonna get.
Yes.
Because you will just keep on and keep on and keep on, and you get frustrated and you can't, you just it will mess up your whole day. If it's not going right, set it to the side, and then come back when you're relaxed, when you're calm about it, change your hook and try again.
Yep.
Because it'll make a big difference.
Zoila, it is 4x4, but I need a 1 inch on all 4 sides so that I'm not measuring the edges.
Right.
That's why I do a 6x6, so I have 1 inch on all 4 sides so that I can measure the actual stitches in the middle.
Right.
If that makes sense.
That's the way it's supposed to be, but you're supposed supposed to be.
And I know we've said this before, but after a while, you should know what your gauge is going to be. If you work a lot with acrylics, the 4-way, and your favorite J hook or your favorite I hook or your favorite G hook, you're going to know what your gauge is going to be without really having to work one up.
Yeah.
You really need to swatch when you pick up a brand that you've never worked with before.
Yes.
You really need to see how that's going to work with either the hook that's recommended or the hook that goes with the pattern. You need to see if it's going to give you that feel while you're working with it. If you start out with the metal hook, excuse me, guys, I'm having trouble speaking tonight, and it's not feeling good, then you need to stop, pull it out, and then try it again with the wooden hook, excuse me, or a plastic or a resin. So, but for me, with my acrylics, I know pretty much what my swatch size is, and I don't normally have to just sit down and swatch every time. But I have been experimenting with different yarns lately, and so I'm having to say, okay, I'm going to start out with my metals because I love my metal hook.
Oh, yes.
And just sometimes that metal does not agree with the yarn.
No.
So I have to get a wooden hook. Most of the time, that's my second go-to. Normally that works, but then I'll work up a swatch, and like Froggy says, I'll even wash it and dry it or let it dry before I even look at putting my little 4x4 down in the middle of it.
Yes.
Because I want to know what the finished product is going to look like.
But DC has a point. The variable is the tension you use.
That's right.
Is the tension that the creator uses.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hence why I had to go up 5 different sizes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I know most of the time if I have a pattern that, say, for instance, is a number 3 yarn, lightweight DK yarn, and the pattern calls for a H hook, I know right away I got to go up to a J before I even start it. I know I do, because I crochet tighter than most other creators do for some reason, and it always comes out, you know,
smaller than what it's supposed to be.
Swatch or not, it always you know, comes out to be what it should be, because I know how I hold my tension in my hands and my yarn.
Yep.
Well, it's also like when Maureen creates a pattern for something in cotton. I know that I'll use a different hook than she will.
Yep.
Because Maureen does crochet tighter,
Yes.
and I don't.
Right.
If you want to know my gauge, this is going to make you laugh. Standard skein of Red Heart Super Saver, that's my gauge. What's on there? I can match the gauge on the label of that.
Oh, really? Wow.
I match gauge every time. It's crazy. It's weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
Why does everyone have so many different types of hook to the same sizes? Oh, now you understand. Yes, I have multiple different brands of hooks, and same sizes. I do, but it's because it depends on if the yarn likes the hook,
right?
And I will switch it up. I've had yarn that didn't like a furls hook, and I switched up the hook. It just makes a difference.
It really does.
And I'll change it up.
Oh, I have a loose tension now.
Right.
I had to retrain myself.
Yeah.
To crochet looser. And when I'm doing amigurumi and it's squeaking, I know I'm doing it right.
Right.
It's tight. But if I'm working with my merino or any of my bougie yarns, if I hear that squeaking, I'm going up a hook size.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're stretching it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a big difference in the material that you're using, that you're crocheting with. Yes. Cotton will stretch, wool's gonna stretch, linen
stretches.
Linen will stretch, acrylic will stretch.
Polyester.
It just depends. You have to know how hard to pull on it and what sound it makes when you do.
Yeah.
I used to, everything I did squeaked. When I first started back crocheting, I did doilies and fillet crochet, things like that. So I was using a number 10 mercerized cotton bedspread yarn or thread, and it would squeak. I mean, it drove my dog nuts when I was crocheting. Nuts. She was hunting the mouse because it squeaked so much. But I didn't realize at the time that it was the hook fighting the yarn.
Yeah.
Oh,
if I had known enough then to change my hooks, I might have worked differently with it.
Right.
It might have been totally different. But I did not know enough at that time to change hooks. I thought it didn't make any difference. You used what the designer said to use.
Right.
If you wanted to make what they were making, you had to do it like they did it. You know, and I didn't know any better.
Now, for me, I don't normally have a squeaky hook. If I end up with a hook that squeaks, I clean it and then I rub it with wax paper.
Right.
and it never squeaks again.
Yeah.
That's just what I do. I don't care if it's metal, wood, plastic, resin. I don't care.
Right.
But I will rub it with wax paper, and it takes away the squeak.
Yeah.
You're very welcome, Zoila.
If you're crocheting really, really tightly to make
You
it
could
squeak,
develop a squeak.
then whatever you put on there is gonna
It's
rub
not
off
gonna stop it.
eventually.
I
and it's
tried.
still gonna.
I never had an issue, so I don't.
It just
and I
depends on
do-
how tight you hold that booger. It'll squeal if you space it too much.
My amigurumi are very tight,
Right.
Mhm.
but I don't have an issue with a squeak.
And that's one of the things that you want to look for also in changing your hook size. You don't want amigurumi that the holes are going to be big enough for those little fingers to get in
Right.
and dig for that stuffing. You want it to be
Right.
really tight, closed up.
I'm betting that too, Divergent. I bet
No,
they never.
I used a lot of mine for sugar starching for
Mhm.
like Christmas tree ornaments
Right.
Nice.
and wreaths for doors and things like that. It wasn't necessarily doily.
Mhm.
But yeah, I love the thread. That's my, or was my favorite thing to play with.
Mhm.
Excuse me.
Oh my
But
God.
now I still like to play with it. I just can't see what I'm doing no more. I have to discuss.
That's true.
But as
My
long as
hands
I'm
just
making it
won't take it
handmade, I'm
anymore.
all right.
Mhm.
That's the joy. That is the joy.
Yep.
It's just creating something.
It
But
is
there's a
fun.
lot of different things with the hook size
Right.
or type of hook that will make your
Mhm.
project different. And it
That's
will
right.
change your game completely.
It makes a big difference.
Yes,
Right.
Just changing the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah. We wanted to share that with you guys. We want to know if y'all have any questions.
Yes.
We've got plenty of time,
Mm.
and we don't mind
Yeah.
sharing what we know.
And you know, I found too that when I was using my steel hooks,
Mhm.
that supposedly they don't bend.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
right.
found out that ain't so.
Yeah,
No.
I bent one time or two.
Yeah, and I've also, when I first started out, I had a whole master set of boy hooks. I had this from the teeny tiny steel hooks all the
Mhm.
way up through the aluminum hooks for regular crochet.
Right.
And even the small, like a B or C crochet hook,
Yep.
I would bend them till
Mhm.
I finally realized myself that I was holding that so tight,
Yep.
you know, holding the hook so hard and holding that yarn so tight, I had to make myself turn them loose, turn it, just
Mhm.
ease up on it, you know. But it took a long, long time before I could make myself do that. It took a
Well,
lot.
when my granny started me out on the steel hooks, she told me if it's not squeaking, you're not crocheting it tight enough.
Oh,
So that's why I turned into a tight crocheter. Yes.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Supposed to squeak, my grandma said.
That's
Supposed to
right.
squeak.
It's supposed to squeak.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
That's what my grandma said.
Yep.
It's supposed to
Right.
squeak.
Mhm.
Now we used acrylic yarn, and I've still got her
There you
metal
go.
hook. Oh
This is
yeah,
how
I didn't
quickly
know
my-
that.
I
oh
was
yeah.
first time I tried doing amigurumi.
It'll
I'm
bend them.
sitting there pulling, and I was like, "Oh no!"
Mhm.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yep.
Oh, Mater ordered parts for his yarn making machine. You go, boy.
Woohoo!
You know, I bent a Pearl's Odyssey all to hell trying to crochet amigurumi with a really small hook.
I
I didn't
Oh my goodness.
I didn't send it to him because I did it. I did it.
I snapped one.
I did too.
One of my amethysts.
I
I
did the
did 2 of them.
I did the Odyssey. I done spun this thing all the way around. I said, "Oh, that's my fault."
Yeah. But
That's
I broke my Odyssey.
gift from one of our friends.
Mm-hmm.
I
I broke
did.
the Odyssey doing that. The head, the tip, just broke one off of it. And of course, it's the reds that they wasn't making anymore.
Oh no!
That I broke. So I super glued that bad boy back on there and put him right back in the shelf so I could look at him.
I said, "Oh well, that's my bad."
Yep.
I learned that I can't do amigurumi with that size hook.
That's why I went to the tulip.
Yes. Now,
Did you
if I know that I'm going to have to hold it tight, that's the absolute one I go. Not the tulip, but I go to the clover or more.
Oh yeah, clover. Sorry,
It's
Clover.
got the rubber on the handle
Oh.
of all of them, and
I
there's
use the
metal.
streamlined metal.
Well,
I don't have
it's the streamlined metal holds different
Yeah.
in my hand. I can't get as tight a tension as I would with the clover or mower. Why? I don't know.
Really?
I don't get. It's not as tight.
I get better tension, but then you're a knife holder and I'm a pencil holder.
Yes.
So-
if I had to crochet like you do, I never would make nothing.
Well,
my hand cramps up
I
like
couldn't
this.
do it. Yeah. If I was having to crochet like that, I would never get nothing done. Never.
well, I tried with the, I picked up Tunisian.
Mhm.
And everyone you see, now somebody told me that someone else does Tunisian pencil style, but anyway, I have now, just for me, whether I'm doing it right or not, I don't know, but I did try with the knife, and I can't figure out how to turn that thing just to get a loop on the hook.
Yep.
I'm not with you. And I was sitting there. I've watched Tony on TL Yarn Crafts, and I've watched Michael, and I'm like, how are they? I couldn't do it. I could not do it. So I said, okay. So I put it down for about an hour, came back, picked up the hook, stuck it in my hand, just like I normally do. And I was going through there. Of course, I do have to go slow because that yarn all wads up on the hook.
Mm-hmm. Well, I learned the Tunisian from Kim Guzman, and she's a pencil holder.
Kim Guzman, that's who it was. Okay.
She's a pencil holder. But now I don't hold it like a pencil.
When I first started,
I still hold my Tunisian hook like a knife. I mean, I was always hard. I can't hold it that other way. I just can't.
Zola didn't know there was a pencil hold.
My grandmother taught me that way.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, she taught me that way.
Oh no. My grandmother, she held it like she was a crap out of it.
Oh no, my Grammy was very, graceful with hers.
Right.
Very graceful.
Yep.
Well, I had to say my grandmother was just learning the same that I was. So, her oldest daughter was teaching her how to crochet so that she wouldn't smoke as much.
Oh.
And she started making a big Afghan out of granny squares. And I would just stare in amazement watching her doing that, putting that together, and this beautiful thing had come out of it. And I asked her one day, Mama, will you teach me how to do that? Sure. So I sat down and went to do it. But like I said, she acted like she was just stabbing it to death. Then she put her thumb on her hook and held the loop on her hook. When she would yarn over and go into the stitch, she was holding that loop, the original loop, on her hook.
I do that.
Yeah.
She does that. My grandmother did that with every stitch she made. Every stitch.
I do that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure did.
I do that. I choke up on the hook. Now, I used to hold it back here, but then I lost my eyesight, and now I choke up on the hook and I hold it back here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to feel the loops. So, but Maureen crochets like this.
Yeah.
I
can't.
can't.
I
no.
do.
Nope, nope, nope.
No, it gives me hand cramps, and I can't turn my other hand to do it the way I need to do it. And
Oh, no. Well, I know when I hold a different hook, I hold all of my hooks differently. It's all the knives, but I hold them all differently. When I'm using an Odyssey, I hold it just like this, and I roll it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
As I'm going in and out, I'm rolling because it rolls so smooth.
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect. But if I'm using like a resin, I've got my hands around it.
Oh.
I've got my hand out and I do my
Hey,
wrist
Nance.
like that. I don't roll it. I have my wrist moving. And it's
There you go,
different if I hold
Nance.
wood.
DC, that's right. My fingers have more dexterity than the palm of my hand, so that's why I hold it like a pencil.
Well, I can roll mine really well, the Odyssey, and twist my wrist, going in like the stitches. But I can't hold it like that. I just can't.
I get it.
Don't work that way.
Right.
Cool.
My hand is like, what? What are you doing? Hands, too.
Well, I love it.
Hello, Nancy. How are you, sweetheart?
I love it because everybody can crochet and hold the hook differently.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you do, Martha. You do what you got to do.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I taught my best friend to crochet, and she was my mother's age. I mean, she was a lot older age group than I was. But when I taught her crochet, the way she held her hook was totally different from me. And she liked to have never figured out how to do it because she had the pencil. That's the way she was trying to hold it. And I said, if you'll try it like a knife, try it and see if you can hold it better. She couldn't.
Yes.
And it made that much of a difference in me teaching her with the knife grip and her doing the pencil. It made that big of a difference.
It can make a difference.
Wow.
But I love seeing everybody hold it differently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Makes a huge difference.
I love just watching those perfect things come out of, just emerge, just magically. It's beautiful. That's what I like. It's like those knitting machines, you crank that handle and you watch that thing coming out the bottom side of it. It's just like somebody sitting up there crocheting real fast. Just going after the bottom.
That is so cool. So we're winding down now.
Yes.
I hope you guys have enjoyed this live. We enjoyed having you here.
Oh, yeah, very much.
Hi, Brandon.
Hello, Brandon.
Hello, Brandon.
We'll be on again next Friday night.
Yes.
And we'll be at Connie's house.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
We'll find something else to get into. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's nice, Nancy.
Oh, Nancy, that's awesome.
Ooh, wonderful. I don't even have one of those.
I don't either.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Either which way, yeah.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. Please hit the thumbs up, guys.
Yes, please.
Yes.
And
definitely helps Froggy's channel.
We will be back on next Friday evening at 6 o'clock Eastern.
Yes.
And we hope to see you there.
That's right.
I want to remind everybody that on Sunday, we will be on at Maureen's house, Twisted Fiber Friends, at 4 o'clock Eastern.
Be there or be square.
We have a big surprise for you.
Oh, yes, we do. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun. I see you. Just a minute.
So we are going to do a Southern Sisters raid. If you guys would go over there and raid, create, and relate, Kitty, I would really appreciate that.
That's right.
But in the meantime, I'd like to say stay safe, be kind to one another, and as always, happy yarning. And Connie.
Yes, in a world where you can choose to be anything, be kind. You never know what it does to people.
And Sherry.
Smile. Make them wonder what you're up to.
Yes. Maureen, bring it to a close.
Folks, please always remember, be the light out there in the darkness for someone today, because you never know. Could be your light they're waiting to see. Thank you all so much for being here with us. We really do appreciate your time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.